How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Conti and Nick. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The first time they go offense, they take Jordan Love? They take Jordan Love!
Listen, Matisse Thybulle will lock up CP3.
Oh my god.
Chris Paul.
Oh my god.
Chris Paul, baby. Right, Will?
Nope, I totally disagree. Look. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Conti and Nick. Episode 28. It's crazy how long we've been doing this. I know we do this every time. We kind of we get close to hitting a
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
I can't believe it. No, it's fun to do. We're back here, Bridgewater State, live on YouTube, doing the live show again. And we got a scrapper of a show today.
Yeah, you know,
we got a big one.
Usually it's kind of like, all right, this is what happened last week in the NFL.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen next week. I texted Will last night. I'm like, bro, let's do something different.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, let's do a banger of an episode. You know what I mean? And Will was like, fuck, I'm all for it, man.
Yeah, but I'm here for it, dude. I'm here for all the debate, everything. You know what? Give me everything.
I feel as though at some point every podcast does an episode like this.
Oh yeah,
you know, at some point they just break it out. They say, screw it, here we go. Let's open the floodgates.
It's the initiation. You know what I mean?
It is. The episode 28 initiation.
Of course. We're about to hit 30. I'm like, oh my god, we haven't done a top 10 of all time list. So yeah, that's what we're here to do.
Let's quit right at 29.
Yep. not even hit 30. So yeah, we're gonna do this a little bit differently from where we've done drafts and stuff like that. I'm going first, I believe. So I'm gonna start at 10 with my list. I'm gonna go all the way down to 1 and kind of just give my reasoning, and then Gino is gonna give his list. And then War will probably break loose somewhere in between that.
So yeah, it's gonna be definitely a lot of talking from Nicholson, then a lot of talking from me, and then Renee, fire!
That's essentially what it's gonna be. So I mean, should we actually? Before we jump into it, I'll say again, thank you for all the support we get on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff like that.
Be active in the chat, man.
Oh, of course, yeah. We're looking at for sure. We're looking at that today. We're looking at the chat to see, what we got. And yeah, I guess we'll jump into it. But yeah, thank you for the support with all that stuff.
I don't thank you.
I do it. It makes me feel good. We post stuff and get a lot of attention.
I don't. I'm not grateful for any of it.
Gino, it's Thanksgiving, man.
Huh?
It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, talk to me then.
Then he'll be thankful. All right, maybe we don't know. All right, so we'll jump into the list right here. Look, I will say I think I for sure have a more reasonable list than Gino, but it could be picked apart a little bit. There's some bias in there where people have some guys higher. So we'll start at number 10. For my number 10, I have Tim Duncan. Look, you have a 5-time NBA champion. Dude was absolutely, he's not flashy, right? The big fundamental, right?
Fundamental groundhog. Dude.
Exactly. Yeah. It's who Tim Duncan was. And look, it won games. He had a pop as a coach. I think it's hard for you to win 5 championships and not be considered in the top 10. This I think is the hardest one to really choose because almost everyone has someone different here. You have guys like Hakeem. Some people are sliding like Durant. I think Curry can make a run for this spot at one point. Maybe another MVP or another Finals run. Who knows? But number 10, I got Duncan, and I think that's pretty straight up. I don't think that's controversial. I don't think there's much debate with that. So yes, Tim Duncan. Number 10. Number 9, this is the one where I think it starts to get a little... It's a top
saucy.
10. It's a top 10. Everything's going to be,
Yeah, and I kind of said this before we started. I feel as though the players that we have are going to be very similar, if not the exact same. But the order is going to be very
That's why it's so nitpicky.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what, and this is what happens with the greats. And look, at number 9, I'm taking the best winner of all time. Give me Bill Russell at number 9. Look, and I know Gino's already waving his head, but look, was Bill Russell amazing for his time? Yes. Do I still think he would be good now? Yes. He won the most rings ever, but again, you take context. Into it. He wouldn't be putting up the crazy amount of numbers that he put up if he played in any other era of the 60s. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He thinks he's the GOAT. But Bill Russell at 9, I love Big Bill. I do. He's hilarious when he said,
"I will kick your
Yes,
ass."
when he did that was funny. You know, Celtics fans, we love Bill Russell, and you can't.
You're missing such a huge element of it, but I'll get to it.
Okay,
later.
that's fine. Look,
later.
you win 11 championships. You deserve to be here. But I think the players individually on this list going forward are better than Wilt. That's what I'll say. Tim Duncan, great winner as well. Bill Russell, better winner, and then I think everyone else is better individually, which brings me to my number 8. Shaquille O'Neal, I have at number 8. I think that's good for Shaq. I feel like people either overrate Shaq way too much, where they say, oh, he's the best center ever, which is arguable. I believe there's guys that are better. But he was the most dominant force in basketball, and that's not up for debate. There's never been a player like Shaq ever, and there will never be a player like him ever again. You don't come by a dude that big with a soft touch around the rim with that mentality just to be an absolute, machine and killer and go at you. And
you were about to say Machine Gun Kelly. I'm like, bro, what?
Not Machine Gun Kelly. But yeah, I loved how Shaq, him and Kobe didn't always see eye to eye, but I still love Shaq. He's a funny dude. I still love him on TV now. And he's got the rings to back it up. And he's got an MVP. Google me, Chuck. He's got the resume, so I'll take Shaq at number 8. This is one that I also hear is a little low sometimes, but at number 7, give me Larry Legend, Larry Bird. I mean, I love Larry Bird, right? He was my dad's favorite player. I hear Larry Bird stories all the time. I love hearing the Larry Bird stories. So I'm going to stick him here at 7. I think, was he the most athletically gifted player? No, he probably wasn't a better athlete than the 3 guys that he's ahead of. But I still think he's one of the best players of all time. The assists, the shooting, it was beyond its time. If Larry played in the era right now, he would be insane. He'd be crazy good. And that's one of the few players, I think, where if you say, okay, stick him in this era right now, he's still as successful as he was. I think he's almost more successful if he played now compared to the 80s. But, that's up for debate. Love Larry Legend. Again, all these guys you're going to see have the same type of resume for me. It's the winning, it's the skill, it's the MVP. I don't have anyone outlandish here. Everyone on here is pretty much one of the greats in my opinion. But it's just about I rank. You'll start to see kind of a trend. I'm a big skill guy. I think that's pretty known. I'm all about the skillful players. At number 6, give me Shaq's partner in crime for those early 2000s here. Give me Kobe Bean Bryant, rest in peace. Look, Kobe is, he's one of the best players ever. And I respect people who have Kobe in the top 3. And I think that, I would even, it's not a bad argument for him to be up there. But again, the way that I like to rank these guys, he sits at 6 for me. He's individually better than I think all the players that were put ahead. He has the resume. Like I said, 5 championships, only 2 finals MVPs, which, everyone puts as an asterisk, which is understandable. It's great, but, we have all these great players. There's got to be an asterisk somewhere. There was people who didn't like Kobe. I love Kobe's mentality, but when it comes to Kobe, I just think there's other players who were better winners, who had just as good a resume or put up better stats, or who I think was just a better player. But as far as individual skill goes, and I'm gonna get this bucket no matter what, and no one can stop me, Kobe Bryant's probably the best at it. I would argue he's the best bucket go-getter ever, and that doesn't mean scorer, right? There's elite scorers out there. I'd argue.
You're saying clutch.
Yes, clutch. Okay, that's a good word for it. Clutch. He's the most clutch ever, in my opinion. Jordan's up there too, but Kobe was never afraid of the moment. That's something I can respect. And as far as scorers go, also I think KD is probably one of the best scorers ever. I think he'll probably be the best scorer ever when it's all said and done. Mm-hmm. So Kobe at 6. We're moving into the top 5. This is my big top 5 now. At number 5, give me Wilt Chamberlain, the stat machine. Look, I don't know about you, Gino, but did you see that HD footage that came out of Wilt?
I did.
Where it was all like colorized. And look, this dude could have probably played in the modern era. I think he could have. I hate when we do this. I'm gonna go on a little rant about this real quick. I hate when we take players and we kind of pick them from their era, and we say, okay, this player right here, right now, if you put him in a time machine and put him in this era, would they succeed? No. You can do that with almost anyone, and it won't be true. But this is the argument that I think it should be when we do that. I think it would be, okay, if Wilt Chamberlain was born in the 90s or like early 2000s, let's say, and he started to play in the league like now or a couple of years ago, and he got to watch like Jordan and like LeBron, and he got to grow up in this kind of new era, would Wilt be amazing? Yes, he would be spectacular if he was born in this era. And look, that's a weird argument. I know it sounds funny, it sounds weird, but I do genuinely think that if Wilt kind of grew up in this era, I see Jake going, Wilt's the GOAT. He's up there, okay? He's my number 5.
Attaboy.
I knew he'd be in there. But if you threw him in this era with, being born in this era, I think that he would succeed. We got the crazy stats, crazy athlete. I think Wilt, I didn't always have him in my top 5, but, I think he deserves to be here. Absolute stat machine. And you really can't ask more out of your center at that time. I mean, he did everything right. So yeah, give me Wilt there. Number 4, give me Magic Johnson, another guy with 5 championships. Magic is an MVP, right? He for sure does.
Well,
he does, right? I'm sorry, my 90s is off.
MVP.
Oh my god, okay, he does have an MVP. I'm sorry, I blanked there for a second. I'm sorry. Again, multiple MVPs, right? Multiple MVP guy, multiple championship guy. Really a revolutionary player for his time, being a tall point guard who can also pass the ball, and he was flashy, and he kind of started that Showtime in the Staples Center, which should not be renamed, by the way. But that's a discussion for
Staples Center is such an iconic name.
It was iconic. It's a discussion for a different day, but we love it. It's horrible. It's horrible. But
Staples Center just rolls off the tongue.
It does. And it feels right, but it happens. But yeah,
it wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be.
I think we need to see other stadiums.
That's true. We will. But give me Magic at number 4. Individually, so skilled, so talented. And that won him championships. He had the next guy, and I'll just jump right into it. He had this guy alongside him who I think was better. Give me Kareem. Give me Kareem. And I know Gino's flaming right now because he's a very, very big Kareem guy. But look, when it comes to Kareem, you have the number 1, player with the all-time leading scorer. Thank you. I got mixed up in my words there. The all-time leading scorer, number 1 on that list. And look, I think that he is amazing. Right? I'm not trying to diminish Kareem. He's my number 3. I think he's better than all of these guys who are so skilled, so talented. The skyhook, the unguardable shot, it's great, right? It's great, but I think that the next 2 guys can literally, and I literally do anything on the floor. And look, my next 2, like I guess to sum up Kareem, yes, he's one of the best players. The skyhook, all that stuff. I think I pretty much covered everything. The championships, the MVP. I mean, Kareem had it all. So he's up there on my Mount Rushmore for sure. And I call my Mount Rushmore the top 3 or 4. So number 2, and this is very, and I want to be very specific. This is very interchangeable. This number 2 and number 1 spot.
It's really not.
It is.
It's really not.
Oh, it for sure is. At number 2. Give me LeBron James. And at number 1, give me Michael Jordan. However, I will put Jordan on top now because I have enough respect for Jordan. He has more rings. I think more MVPs, right? LeBron has 4
MVPs.
Okay, Jordan had 4 too, right?
No, he has 5.
It's 5. Okay.
I'm sorry. 6. 5. Okay,
5.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So Jordan had 5 MVPs.
Yep.
Good.
Jordan
okay.
5, LeBron 4.
Okay, so that's where it starts to get okay. Jordan clearly right now, in my opinion, is a front runner. There is a case for LeBron. There's a case being made, and I firmly believe when it's all said and done, we will be saying that LeBron James is the greatest basketball player to ever touch the court. I think he has a chance to be number 1 in points. I think he has a chance to be top 5 in assists, and I think he has a chance to even be top 5 in rebounds, or at least top 10. That is insane. Not to mention that he was in his prime. We've seen a decline now, and I'm not going to be a recency bias with this, but in his prime, LeBron was a defender. he could defend very, very, very well, and we kind of forget that. Exactly, he still can when he wants to. But people like to Jordan's a better defender. I agree. Jordan's probably the best defender ever when it comes to just one-on-one guarding you. LeBron, he could guard pretty much all 5 positions at his prime.
So is it your firm belief that when it's all said and done, LeBron's like...
And I'm going to treat it fairly. My prediction is that when it's all said and done, we will be saying that LeBron James is the best basketball player of all time. Like, our kids will be taught, well, maybe not yours, will be taught them something different.
My kids will be brought up the right way.
I firmly believe that my kids will be talking about LeBron the way that we talk about Jordan almost. Like, we don't see Jordan as real, you know what I mean? Our kids are gonna be like, there's no way LeBron James could do like this, that, and all. There's no way he was that good. I'll be like, yes, he absolutely was. Be like, oh, but Dad, what about LeBron James? No.
Bronny.
What about Bronny? No. What about like Luka's kid? No. Oh, Luka's probably one of the best right now. No, we're gonna talk about LeBron.
What about Zaire Wade?
Exactly. We're gonna be talking about LeBron the way that our dads kind of talk about Jordan right now. And he's the best of the era. I think all 3 of those guys, my top 3, were like the best of their, even top 5, I would say, were the best in their like respected era. You know what I mean? Like this, the 90s, LeBron, the 80s, Magic, very, very early basketball. You got Kareem and Wilt for, the 2 best at that.
First of all,
LeBron's
very,
the best
very early basketball was the days of George Mikan.
True. The first GOAT. I will put respect on the first GOAT.
Thank you. George Mikan was the first GOAT. I'm so glad that you acknowledge that rather than just calling me an old man.
No, okay? I will put respect. Unlike the other old heads that you like to pull up, no, George Mikan was the original GOAT. Singing Slam was not the original quarterback GOAT. I refuse.
I never said he was.
That's good, because he's not.
Okay.
That's good.
First of all, that'll run up my top 10. Otto Graham was the first QB GOAT, in my opinion.
Sure.
You didn't even know who that is, dude.
I know Otto Graham.
8-time champ. Played for the Cleveland Browns at the time. I think for the Cleveland Browns. Whatever. We're not getting into the old conversation now.
That's my top 10, though.
That's your top 10? Are you ready for mine?
I don't know if I am, but I'll let you make your case.
Okay, so we have a couple that are similar.
Okay,
a couple.
That's actually kind of shocking.
Number 10, Tim Duncan.
Okay,
this guy played 19 seasons, was elite for 17 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is absolutely insane. Talk about longevity, but just amazing longevity. All right, that's nuts to me. Okay, 1 of 5 players with 25,000 points and 15,000 rebounds. You are one of the 5 people in human history. That is amazing. Okay, especially in like a positive stat and not some like all-time turnover leader, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a positive stat like that, that's longevity and that's elite longevity. It's not like, no disrespect, I love him. It's not like Frank Gore, where you're kind of breaking records when towards the end you're not as good as you once were anymore. Yeah. Okay? 5 rings and 5 all defensive team selections.
Tim Duncan at his very oldest could give you a double-double, in my opinion.
Yes, I bet. Yeah, Tim Duncan, if he came out of retirement now, could still drop 10 and 10.
He could double-double.
He could still give you 10 and 10.
For sure.
Like, that's crazy to me. Like I said, the fundamental Groundhog Day. He did nothing flashy, but guess what? He did nothing flashy, but the jewelry on his fingers were flashy.
Agree.
Okay?
I agree.
That's all you have to say. Yeah, he had Parker. Yeah, he had Ginobili. But guess what? Yeah, I'm sorry, yes, and Pop. But guess what? Like, you're still an amazing player. That team ran through you. You are the face of the San Antonio Spurs, okay? And he's such a unique and quiet leader. Okay, like his demeanor is like in terms of just like a superstar, really is unlike anything that we've seen from this high quality of a player. Would you say?
Yeah,
like for the people who will,
he's the most boring GOAT ever.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. He leads by example, and he shows people you want to get something done, just put your head down and work your ass off and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's Tim Duncan. Obviously, he's not better than the 9 other guys I have on my list. Okay, but he's to be respected. He is the greatest power forward of all time. Okay? The greatest power, not center.
Yes,
the greatest power forward of all time.
Really quick to just go with that. I can't decide with that debate. Right? It's hard. Maybe Giannis is there one day.
Oh my god!
Gino, come on, man!
Oh my god!
Hey, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. KG's thrown in there.
KG. You have Dirk.
Yeah.
Hakeem's natural position was the power forward.
Okay, that's fair.
You have Kevin McHale. You have Charles Barkley. Right. So
yeah.
Let's not go too crazy.
I still think Timmy D is the GOAT, but I do think that Giannis.
No, you have Jerry Lucas. Don't forget about
No,
Jerry
I don't
Lucas.
have Jerry Lucas.
You don't even know who Jerry Lucas
I
is.
don't.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
Who is that?
You have Tommy Heinsohn. Okay,
I love Tommy. Look, I love Tommy. Tommy was probably a better coach and announcer than he was a player. I'm sorry, it just was.
You are. Oh,
That's true. He was a great player. Yes, it is.
Okay.
There's a
number 9.
Okay, yeah.
Number 9. Will Nicholson. Congratulations. It's Wilt Chamberlain.
Hey, wow,
okay.
You put Wilt lower than me?
Yes, I did. In
what
terms of
alternate reality are we in?
In terms of stats, there is no comparison. There is none. Okay, like we all know that this man put up 100 points. We all know that this man averaged 50 points a game in some seasons. Like, it's absolutely insane. Okay? He's the first player in NBA history to reach 30,000 points. That's the dominance that this man had when he was on the floor. I'm sorry, Jake. I have him so low if you're still listening. Okay? He's a genetic freak. We all know that this guy's dominance was absolutely off the charts. But when it came to crunch time, who did he always lose to?
Celtics, right?
The Celtics and Bill Russell.
He did.
Okay? And he has championships. He has his rings. He has his rings, okay? But everybody knows when the chips were down and all the chips were on the table and the dice were thrown, Wilt Chamberlain came up short. Okay? Like, and it's kind of, think about it like Peyton Manning, right? Think about it like Peyton Manning. I think that Peyton Manning is the greatest regular season quarterback of all time. Regular season. But guess what happened?
I probably agree with you.
But when he faced Tom Brady, what happened?
Couldn't get it done. He got it done a couple of times.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. He got it done a couple of times. Sounds familiar? He got it done a couple of times, but everyone knew that Brady had his number.
Can I just say how interesting this is really quick? Of the type of like people we are and the way we rank these players. I had Bill Russell at number 9, and I made the argument that, oh yeah, he's a winner, but he didn't necessarily have all the numbers to back it up, and we had different arguments where you put Wilt at number 9, and I'll love if you put Russell at number 5. That'd be hilarious, because that just shows the way that we rate player. We're like, oh, but he's here, but Bill was the better winner, and yeah, and we'll put up great stats, but Bill, one more I think that's great. This is like so it's when it comes to lists. You know what I mean?
Why we have a podcast.
It's true.
Okay, but like I said, my biggest complaint was when all the chips were down and put into the middle of the table. Who did they lose to?
That's fair.
All the time it was Bill Russell. He never ever got the upper hand on him. And to me, when you have somebody who always is holding you down like that, or always kind of pushing you down and pinning you down, why do you deserve to be ranked ahead of them?
Hey, those numbers don't lie, man.
Exactly. Well, that's
when
what
you
I
have
said.
a natural
said,
freak of an athlete. So.
If you purely looked at statistics, Wilt Chamberlain would be the greatest player of all time. Okay, but that's not what I'm doing. Statistics
you
mean
say
squat.
Wins, yes? But you say like wins over that, right?
But winning and accolades.
Okay,
and accolades.
But here's the thing where I knock Bill Russell a little bit, which is also not entirely his fault. I think the era he was into, there wasn't a lot of teams. There wasn't a lot of competition. Was he a pioneer of the game? Yes. Is anyone ever going to do like anything like that ever again in history? No, they're not, because you got to put context in these things. Did he win a lot? Yes. Was it at an era where there wasn't a whole lot that he had to go up against? Yes, he still won. Don't get me wrong, he still went out there and he won, and the only time he didn't win was because the other absolute athletic freak, took his spot. But yeah, I have Wilt over Russell. You have Russell over Wilt. I respect it, but
okay. So number 8, Will Nicholson. Congratulations. I have Shaquille O'Neal.
There's no way.
Okay? He is the most dominant player in the history of the NBA.
Yes.
Okay, he only needed to do one thing his whole entire career. His whole entire career was pass me the ball down low, like you said, soft touch, or I'm just going to yam it on somebody. You know what? I'm just going to sit in the paint, and I'm just going to block your ass.
Yep.
Okay, that's it. But he did it in such a way, it sounds really basic, so it's like, oh, why is he so hot? Because it was just the prowess. Okay, like the menacing force of nature that Shaquille O'Neal was, it was unlike anything we've ever seen, and like you said, it will never be seen again.
It won't.
Quite to that nature.
It won't.
Okay, it's absolutely crazy to me. Okay, and then look at this: 4 rings and 3 Finals MVPs. So when he won, so 75% of the championships he's won, he was the best player.
Yeah.
So I mean that's crazy to me. Well, I'd say for that playoff series at least.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
like not obviously not on the team all the time, but
Yes.
you know what I mean, for the playoff run.
Yeah.
So that's nuts to me. And 19 years, he was a 15-time All-Star.
That's
and
crazy.
it took him being fat and old. It took him being fat and old.
Shaq could have played for longer if he kept his body healthy.
Yes,
for sure.
If it wasn't for like the constant Big Macs every single day,
Exactly.
like he said, he used to pound Big Macs left
McDonald's
and right.
ruined Shaq.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, Shaquille O'Neal is number 8. Nothing wrong with that. Number 7, Will Nicholson. Congratulations.
There's no way.
Kobe Bryant, Kobe Bean.
For the record, I made a list predicting what Gino's was going to be, and I'm 4 for 4.
Yeah, Wendy's.
Exactly.
Speaking of fast food, McDonald's, Wendy's.
Yeah,
we'll find Burger King in there somewhere.
Of course.
But number 5 rings, 2 Finals MVP. Okay, to me that's awesome. It was incredibly clutch. We all know the Mamba mentality. It's been said over and over by now. First of all, rest in peace. Okay.
Yes.
It's been said over and over by now. I mean, ever since his unfortunate death, everyone's been talking about just the influence that he's had on the league. Okay, like
shouldn't go unnoticed, but
yeah,
that's insane.
Exactly, and like most players today, they look up to him because
sure.
ask in interviews, they were like, "Who's your idol? Who's your idol?" "Oh, I model my game after Kobe." "Oh, I try to be like Kobe." "Oh, I really liked when Kobe did this, or I like when Kobe did that." Like, do you realize how much he says that? Like, to me, that really does say something. Okay,
Yeah.
He was the like we talked about how putting up stats like will probably never be seen again. He came 19 points away when he dropped 81 points.
Yeah.
That is nuts. Like, rest in peace, Jalen Rose.
Yeah, right.
Okay, like he still defends it to this day, and his wife Molly Karam, who is like the host of First Take, she gets all pissy whenever.
That's his wife?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, Jalen Rose and Molly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they're married.
How did I not know that?
Yeah, Jalen Rose.
That's
is a lucky
insane.
Man.
Yeah, shout out Jalen Rose.
Yeah, I mean,
good for you, bro.
I don't know what you did, but
God, I'm losing off the court. Sorry, losing on the court, but winning off it, I guess.
Oh my God, I know. And Jalen Rose was like an all-star too, man. He was pretty damn good.
Good for Jalen Rose.
So, the one reason I have Kobe this low, okay, because I know a lot of people do have him a lot higher, top 5, maybe even top 3, like you said. No disrespect. He's Diet Michael Jordan.
That's fair.
He is. Like his number 1 goal, he made no bones about it. When he was playing, he goes, "I want to be like Mike." Yeah. And he was
pretty flawless resume to want to do, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, he came so close to being Michael Jordan. Like, he studied every single fundamental, every little aspect of life. He studied about Michael Jordan, and he came so close. He just nobody's Michael Jordan. Okay, like, let's be real.
No one will ever be Michael Jordan.
Exactly. No one will ever be Michael Jordan. But damn, Kobe, did you come close.
Yeah.
Okay, but to me, the way I look at it, I go, that kind of lacks uniqueness. You know what I mean? To me, like...
That's fair.
Because in the top 10...
People like that, though. That's why I think people
I
love
like
Kobe.
it too, but I know, but at the same time, you kind of have 2 of almost the exact same player...
That's fair.
On the list.
I get it.
You know, so
on the court, the exact same player.
Yes.
Off the court, I think they're 2 totally different.
Oh yeah, like exactly. Like, one's more quiet and reserved, which would be MJ. Kobe wanted to explore life, obviously. You know what I mean? Like all the jibber jabber, whatever it may be.
I made this prediction, but before everything happened with Kobe.
Before he died.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that what he was gonna do off the court was going to be bigger than what he did on. Yeah. He had a book win like an Emmy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was
like a short film.
The animated short film.
I think it was like Dear Basketball.
Yes, and that was crazy good. His daughter, again, rest in peace to Gigi, was like probably on pace to be like the LeBron of the WNBA. That's not just coming from me. That's what WNBA players said about her. Mm-hmm. That she was going to be a great WNBA player. I firmly believe that.
I heard some people say, like, oh, if she wasn't 13, she'd already be in the WNBA. Yeah, which is nuts.
It's insane. And look, everything that Kobe did, and he even said it, he wanted to do more off the court than he did on. And there's a few players who I think can actually really achieve that. Kobe, and maybe Jordan's one. Maybe even LeBron. I hope Jaylen Brown ends up doing it. Jaylen Brown is a very smart, individual off the court. But there's so much that Kobe could have done. I had to say that. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
It's a great thing to bring up.
So number 6, Will. I'm sorry, it's Bill Russell.
Okay.
Okay, number 6.
Wait, so we flipped Wilt and Russell.
We did.
That's insane.
So this is the only.
It is the only universe.
So number 6, I have Bill Russell. Okay, the ultimate winner. 11 rings. Mr. Conti's GOAT is Bill Russell. Okay? My dad always says, talk about Jordan, talk about LeBron. At the end of the day, who has the ring on their toe? And that's Bill Russell.
The ring on the toe.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, you don't have enough.
Sorry, Mr. Conti. I respectfully disagree.
That's all good. But a 5-time MVP, a 12-time All-Star, incredibly athletic for his day, okay? If he could develop a shot, he'd be the prototypical power forward in today's game.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
I think Will would be better, but sure.
Maybe. So
it's again, we're never gonna know.
Yeah, we'll never know. But he could take the ball up the floor. He could. It was insane. Like, you just watch some of those tapes. He was taking that ball up the floor and dunking. 22 and a half rebounds as a career average. 22 and a half. And do you remember? And Will.
That's every night walking and grabbing 22.
Yes. Like, this ain't Andre Drummond.
You'd be lucky if that's your career high.
Yes.
And he averaged it.
And Will, you know when I said, oh, you're missing a whole element of this earlier when you were talking about Bill Russell? Dude, this is the element. He was a player and a coach at the same time.
That's a good point.
Please let me tell you from experience how stressful coaching is. Okay? Please, if you're going to listen to nothing else I say today, listen to this. It is stressful as all hell. Yeah. I love it. I love it. It's my greatest honor. Okay, but it's stressful. This man did that along with being a player and won championships.
He did.
Like, that is insane to me. Like, all the respect in the world to Mr. Bill Russell. I think that, like I said coaching is stressful. This man did it in the professional league of basketball. I'm doing it in freshman football. He did it at a high level, at a championship winning level, as a player and a coach at the same time.
Yeah.
All the respect in the world to Bill Russell. And you know what? You would kick my ass.
He would. Billy, he would.
Number 5. Will, congratulations.
I got it again.
Earvin Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Showtime, baby. Showtime brought an entirely new play style of basketball, which was unlike anything we've ever seen. When it was him, Kareem, and big game James Worthy, and Michael Cooper, and Jesus Christ, Kurt Rambis. Like, that was insane. That was such a huge squad, and at the time, we had never seen anything like it. A 5-time champ, a 3-time MVP, like I said, and the 3-time Finals MVP. Okay, not much else I can say about that. So 60% of the time, he was the best player on the floor in their playoff run, which is crazy. He's a tall point guard, and at the time, that was revolutionary.
You didn't see it.
Okay, we see it now with LaMelo and Lonzo and Cade Cunningham and Ben Simmons.
I was gonna say Ben Simmons.
Yeah, Cade Cunningham and
he who shall be named.
Yeah, he who shall be kicked from practice.
he who we have talked about way too much on the show.
Nope,
not enough.
Next week we're talking about him all
We're running
day.
it back.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, like I said, at the time it was absolutely revolutionary. Unlike anything we had ever seen before. Okay? He is the greatest point guard of all time. He is on the Mount Rushmore of basketball, and this is probably the most important one, Will. He is one half of the duo that saved basketball.
It's true.
He is one half of the duo that saved basketball.
Yeah, totally.
That's true. I mean, let me tell you something.
Hey, the basketball in the 70s was looking rough. With from the cocaine to the ratings. It was...
Absolutely.
No one had a player to watch. No one had a reason to watch basketball. Because the ABA wasn't even a part of the league back then, right?
No, and then you had Dr. J. Well, Dr. J came in. Shout out Jake. He loves Dr. J as well.
I do love Dr. J.
You had Dave Cowens, but still, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying about Magic Johnson. Number 4, Will, congratulations.
No way.
Larry Bird.
I think I know the one I got wrong now.
Yeah. Larry, this is kind of where you fall off the rails. In the rankings. Larry Bird, I'm kind of sound like a broken record, but it just has to be stated, okay? A 3-time champ and a 2-time Finals MVP. 3 straight MVPs this guy had. Okay? 1, 2, 3, tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. That's you, Larry Bird. Holy crap, like, that's something we really don't see. We've come close with Giannis and Steph Curry, back-to-back MVPs. LeBron did it too, but no one's been able to get that 3 in quite some time. Yep. That's Larry Bird. That to me is like, oh my goodness, like, you were just unstoppable. He is a 9-time All-NBA first team. He is a He's the greatest trash talker of all time.
Yep.
Let me say that.
100%.
The greatest trash talker of all time. You have that iconic photo with him and Dr. J in the fight. Okay.
Can we put this argument to rest about Jordan being the best trash talker of all time?
It's Larry Bird.
It's Larry Bird. Because, look, Jordan didn't talk trash. Jordan would get trash talking to him, and then he would just destroy you, so people would never do it again. Larry Bird would talk his smack, and then
he'd back it up,
and he'd bury it in your face. He would tell you his game-minute winning move. That's why my dad loves Larry. Could you imagine? That's why my dad loves Larry Bird.
But not to mention, he played in the 80s when you were actually allowed to hit people. Okay, when you were actually like forced to learn how to play basketball.
Probably why he had to retire early, man.
Yeah,
his background.
When you were forced to actually learn how to play basketball, and he was still, he's a top 4 shooter of all time. Top 4. It's Curry, it's Ray Allen, it's Reggie Miller, and then it's Larry Bird.
Okay.
Like, that's crazy.
Maybe Clay's in there.
Clay's 5.
Okay, all right.
Clay's 5. So I said top 4 to make it sound better.
Okay. Sure.
There you go. There's my secret. There's a secret to my verbiage, guys.
I agree.
But, I mean, and he's universally feared. The Celtics were down in the dumps. They took him 60th overall. 6th overall. And in his rookie season that year, the Celtics won 60 games. What else do you have to say? What else do you have to say? Okay, Larry Bird. You may say it's a little biased because we come from Boston.
Dude, the Celtics. First of all, the Celtics would have been running the '80s, and also they already did well in the '80s. They would have absolutely ran the late '80s and early '90s had the unfortunate Len Bias death not happened.
Yeah,
they would have ran it.
Absolutely, I completely agree. So, number 3, LeBron James.
It's a tough hit.
LeBron James.
That's a tough hit, Conti.
A 4-time champ, a 4-time Finals MVP, a 4-time MVP.
You sound so sad.
I hate LeBron. Okay. Anywhere
I respect
he
you
goes,
putting him top 3.
Anywhere he goes, they're instant title contenders. When he leaves, the teams in the lottery can play all 5 positions on the floor at once at an elite level. And you know what? MJ wouldn't have let that N2020 Finals get to 6 games. Number 2, Kareem Abdul.
It's that quick. You know what? I'll accept it.
Number 2, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You like that?
I love how quick that was.
Yeah. Well, guess what? About as quick as he lasts, like Draymond Green said. But anyways.
Love it.
Anyways.
Love it.
Number 2, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This man is the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. Okay? That's unparalleled success. It's amazing. Okay? The only player in the history of sports, not the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, the MLB, the MLS, whatever, the XFL, whatever, the CFL, the only player in the history of sports to have one unstoppable move that nobody could stop. That's it.
Never gonna happen again in sports ever.
It's never happened before, besides Kareem, and it's never gonna happen again.
Yeah.
A 6-time champion, a 2-time Finals MVP, 10-time first-team All-NBA, a 19-time All-Star, 19-time All-Star, 6-time MVP, and this is the real kicker. I know it's not the NBA, but I still want to count it because when you do basketball basketball legends, they include your whole career. Like college, like maybe China or overseas, like Olympics, they count all of it. College banned dunking because Kareem was just so dominant.
That's insane.
They outlawed,
That's absurd.
They outlawed dunking because of him.
You can't guard him.
They
he can't be able to dunk and do the skyhook. It's impossible.
They could not guard him, so he did the skyhook. So they took away an entire element of the game because he dominated so much. Tell me when LeBron's done that.
That's
sorry, can't recall.
That's a good point.
Number 1.
Well, he didn't go to college.
What?
He didn't go to. He was good enough to not go to college.
High school didn't outlaw.
Come on. Dunking was a big part of the game at that point. Come on.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Well, that was at the time where you could go straight out of high. First of all, do you know who the last ever player to come straight out of high school was?
Wasn't it KG?
You're gonna laugh.
Well, I so know who it is too. It wasn't Dwight, was it?
You're gonna laugh.
Who was
It's Amir Johnson.
Wait, really?
Yeah, Amir Johnson.
I didn't know that. That's pretty funny.
Exactly. It is really funny.
I thought I knew it. I thought it was gonna be like someone I didn't know. Tracy McGrady also didn't go to college, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Anyways,
That's who I thought.
If it's not obvious at this point, number 1, Steve Nash. Okay. I wish. As much as I want to, with my 5'3" little heart, I just can't. Okay.
I appreciate you not doing that.
Thank you. It's the GOAT. MJ. I mean, come on. What else do you have to say?
We've heard the story a million times.
He made
right?
the NBA what it is today. Without him, be like Mike. Like the NBA, I wouldn't say the NBA doesn't exist, but the NBA definitely would not be what it was. Okay, 6 rings, 6 Finals MVPs. Like, what else is there to say? He's a 5-time MVP. He's a Defensive Player of the Year as a shooting guard. Okay, well, that's crazy to me. The most clutch player of all time, in my opinion. I know you said Kobe. I think it's MJ.
Okay.
Okay, because think like I said, who modeled their game after MJ?
That's a good point.
Kobe.
Very good point.
So, the most clutch player of all time, and this is what really does it for me, okay? This is why I say that this is really the thing. Like, I can say rings, I can say MVPs, I can say finals MVPs, I can say, like, this iconic moment, this one. During the first three-peat, when MJ really started hitting his stride, it took him retiring for 2 years and going to baseball for anybody else to win.
For Hakeem to finally get him.
For Hakeem to finally get 2 rings.
That's it.
Okay?
Jordan single-handedly held the player out of the top 10, in my opinion.
Yes.
He single-handedly.
So many players. Not just 8 players.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially,
Reggie, Barkley.
Charles.
Yeah.
Like, Isaiah Thomas. Joe Dumbo. I would say out of the top 10, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, Dennis Rodman in a way,
Yeah.
too. Okay, and take this. He took a 2-year hiatus. Okay, think about how rusty you'd be if you took a 2-year hiatus from rugby, Will. A little rusty,
good.
right? Like, you'd probably get back into the groove of things after a while, but it would take a bit, right?
It would.
The second this man came back, he won the championship. And then did another three-peat.
You don't see that.
Like, nobody won. Like, who? Like, you can
Not
say,
even the Monstars could beat him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, listen, you can say that LeBron's the GOAT, and anyone who says LeBron's the GOAT, I'll leave this with you. Yes, like, the Miami Heat LeBron, especially in 2011, was insane. I will give it to you. There is no debate there. Okay, but at the end of the day, who's been winning? It's like a lot of people have been winning when LeBron's in the league.
True.
When Michael Jordan finally
era more competitive though?
What?
Do you think this era is more competitive?
No, absolutely not.
I disagree.
Absolutely not.
I think this era is
It's the softest putty league.
No.
Stephen A would say.
We do this all the time. Me and Gino do the era argument all the time. Look, I think that it's more competitive. This league is more competitive now. Yes, the game has changed. It's different from like the 80s and the 90s. But they had great players, but there was also some really bad teams.
They had good players, but guess what? LeBron really never had to face that challenge most of his career in the playoffs, right?
That's true.
What have we been saying?
Even an old LeBron won in the West, man. Even an old LeBron won in the West.
Okay, yes, but bubble, whatever, okay? But like bubble...
Sure.
I mean, whatever.
I hate the bubble argument too. That's the other one that the bubble one too.
But again, he had, like, Michael Jordan, just to get to the finals, had to go through Bird, McHale, Paris, Dennis Johnson, the bad boy Pistons.
Sure.
He had to go through Reggie Miller. He had to go through Mark Price and Larry Nance Sr., who was a lot better than Larry Nance Jr. I'm missing Dan Marley and he had to go
those Phoenix Suns teams.
Yes, the competition that Michael Jordan had on his path to the finals supersedes LeBron's path to the finals through the majority of his career.
See, this is where I disagree. Because look, Jordan, and we got to keep in mind with longevity, lost in the first round a bunch, right? There's a lot of times where he lost in the first round. LeBron, for 9 years, made the finals. That's crazy. That's insane. You make the finals for 9 years. That's making it to the dance every single year for 9 years. And look, when we talk about the teams that LeBron, again, I still have Jordan number 1, but I think when it's all said and done, if we look at the teams that LeBron has played in the finals, there's the asterisk I will give is the Dallas Mavericks 2011. He should have won that. 100% that's an asterisk, right?
Do you not think? I personally think it's inexcusable that he let the Miami Heat series in 2020 get to 6 games. I think MJ would have swept.
All right,
MJ would have swept.
It's hard to plug and play like that though. But here's my thing. Let's go through the teams that LeBron's played in the finals real quick. In 2007, right? 2007. He had to play the Spurs. And then he didn't get to the finals in 2000. After that, he didn't get to the finals. 2011, he has to play that Mavericks team, which he should have beat. He should have beat. Dirk went crazy, and I'll give Dirk credit where credit's due. LeBron played bad. He should have won that, right? 2013 or 2012, sorry, when he finally won.
It was the Thunder.
It was it was the Thunder. You're right. So he beats a young Thunder team, which we got to keep in mind. Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden, were they young? Yes, still great players that he beat. We're thinking that was going to be the next super team.
Yeah, and then he lost to the Spurs.
No, he beat the Spurs first.
Okay,
so
I'm sorry.
He beats the Spurs, which was a great Spurs team, by the way. It did have the greatest shot of all time. Yes, that important factors.
Really? I'm not even holding that against him.
Yeah,
I'm not.
That's fair.
And then
he loses to the Spurs. Then he loses to a very, very talented Golden State Warriors team, which he didn't have his players with him in the finals. And people are like, oh, if Jordan didn't... No, Jordan always had Pippen, okay? He always had him in the finals. And that has a lot to be said. Then his next finals, he has to play the greatest team ever, statistically, winning-wise. The greatest team ever. Comes back from a 3-1. Then he has to play, in my opinion, in 2017, the greatest basketball team ever assembled. That 2017 Warriors team
Recency bias.
No, that is the greatest team ever. They did everything. That team could probably beat the 96 Bulls, and I'm not even joking.
Oh my
I'm not even joking. It could. They totally could. And look, there will never, hopefully never, ever, this won't happen again. With that 2017 Warriors team, if they stay healthy, championship guaranteed. You can't say that about any other team ever. In anything. If they stayed healthy, the team was an automatic ring, which is crazy. Now look, do I disagree with Kevin Durant going to the Golden State Warriors? Yes. But when we put all of that bias aside, this team, on paper, on the court, greatest team ever, in my opinion. LeBron had to play that. They lost one game in the entirety of the playoffs. One game. That is an insanely talented team. I think that they're probably the best team ever. And then he loses to them. He loses to the Warriors again. And then he wins versus Miami.
Yeah.
So look, those are some elite teams he had to play in the finals.
But okay, I'll give you, and remember, my argument wasn't who he had to play in the finals.
Okay.
My argument was his path to the finals. Okay?
That's fair.
Listen, who realistically gave LeBron that much of a challenge?
Maybe the Pacers that one year.
Yeah, with Paul George, and then the Celtics in 2018 or whatever.
2018. The year with Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, the year with Tatum.
They didn't have their best two players on.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
Oh, that does matter.
No.
That matters.
No.
There was a rookie and a second-year player, and Terry Rozier and Al Horford, and they took him to 7.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous.
That's insane.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane that he did that versus that team.
No. Oh, the supposed soon-to-be greatest player of all time beats a first-year player and a second-year player, and Al Horford, like a fringe all-star every single year.
He had nothing with him.
Okay.
That 2018 finals run was so impressive.
Jordan Clarkson's an amazing story.
Go get out of here.
He is.
Get out of
here.
Gino,
he had a 6-man of the year.
There's no way.
At the time, George Hill
that's a big point.
Was a solid point guard. At the time.
I
disagree. Larry Nance is a solid big man. Solid. Okay,
we are overhyping LeBron's awful cast.
No.
We are bringing them up when we shouldn't.
I said they were solid. George Hill at the time was solid. Okay, Larry Nance is still solid. Jordan Clarkson is a 6-man of the year.
Yeah, now.
No, but he still was a great scorer.
He was okay.
He still was a great scorer.
He was
in the Lakers, he was okay. He really started to feel his oats in Cleveland. Okay,
not in Cleveland.
But in Utah, it completely went to a different level.
This was the argument we knew this was all going to go.
Okay,
because I believe LeBron's going to get there. Gino 100% disagrees.
Nobody else won. Well, it didn't matter who
fair.
he went up against.
That's totally fair.
Nobody else won until he left for baseball, and then when he came back from baseball,
that's why I think
after 2 years,
I agree.
he started winning again.
Right now, he's my goat.
At 40 years old, he was averaging 20 a game.
I agree with you. Right now, he's my GOAT. But I firmly believe LeBron has a couple more championship runs in him, and the longevity of LeBron, hopefully, I'd love to see it happen, be number 1 in points. He passes Kareem. He already has more points than Jordan.
So let me ask you 3 questions.
Okay.
Would MJ have lost to that Dallas Mavericks team?
No, I don't think so.
Would Michael Jordan have allowed that Miami Heat series in 2020 to go to 6 games?
We're just plugging and playing now. I don't know. Who knows?
Would Michael Jordan have lost on the first round to the Phoenix Suns last year?
I don't know. It's all.
The answer to all 3 of those questions is no.
I'll agree that he probably wouldn't have lost that Mavericks series, right? That was LeBron melting down. Jordan did not melt down. But look, and I'm a firm believer, you need to learn how to win. LeBron in Miami learned how to win, and he won 2 other championships in 2 different cities. I believe that. I do it. I think when it's all said and done, look, you have a guy who can do everything. He has the accolades, and then we have this weird narrative stuck with him where I don't know. I think the competition's better nowadays.
That's ridiculous.
I digress.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
I digress.
You can't touch the players nowadays. You can't.
Which I think when you have an elite defender, that makes them more valuable.
No,
think about how valuable Kawhi is.
Because
Kawhi locks people up, and there's new. And also, they've gotten rid of that BS this year, which I love. The ticky-tacky fouls are gone.
Listen, this year, yes.
I love it.
This year,
sure.
Yes. Okay, fine. Argument for this year.
I'm not going to say that the defense now is harder.
Yeah, but before...
That's not what I'm saying.
The defense... listen, you actually were allowed to hit people back then. You actually were allowed to play hard
my
basketball.
argument is players are more skillful now.
And once again...
Because back then you had guys who can just do... You had guys who were good at,
basketball.
1 or 2 things.
Basketball.
No, see, that's where I disagree. Because now we have people who are actually good at basketball in this era, because they can do they can do everything. They can stretch.
All they do
can
is
drive.
shoot.
That is incorrect.
All they do is shoot.
Incorrect,
dude. Kyle Korver wouldn't have lasted back in the day.
There was literally Steve Kerr. There was Steve Kerr. There was Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
There was sharpshooters.
Give me one other example other than Steve Kerr.
Blanking your
exactly.
Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller.
Oh, no, but Reggie Miller was a special talent.
Get out of here.
Reggie Miller was a superstar.
Go to break.
I'm talking pure sharpshooters. You have Korver, Redick, Duncan Robinson. Okay, Ray Allen was an exception. Okay, because he played back then. But Ray Allen.
There was 100% shooters back in the day.
Who can you name?
There was good shooters.
Okay, Okay, Steve Kerr.
Okay.
And
Reggie.
He was a
superstar. Give me Reggie. That is a shooter.
Pure sharpshooter.
There was other shooters out there. You can't tell me that there wasn't other shooters. My point is, dude, look, I'm not arguing that there was more shooters in the 90s and 80s than there is now. There's way more shooters,
but now,
which I think makes it more skillful.
So you disagree with the argument that nowadays, all it takes for you to be in the NBA is to be a good shooter.
I 120% disagree with that. And you are naive for believing that, Gino.
Duncan Robinson, Kyle Korver, JJ Redick, who else? Seth Curry, not Steph. Seth Curry, Gary Trent, guys like that.
It's not just a shooter.
Gary Trent is kind of a 3-level scorer, but still, my point remains. You really don't think, you think if you plotted them all back, with Michael Jordan's era, they'd still be...
That's not what I'm saying! That is not what I am saying!
Oh my God.
That is not what I'm saying! Look, I think there's aspects that makes the 80s and 90s compared to, basketball now. There's things that make, what... In the 90s, yes, it was more physical, but also, you had, guys who were good at very specific... thing. You didn't have these very versatile players like that. Was it harder to drive to the basket and score? Yes, for sure. I believe that the defense was harder in the 90s, for sure. But now you have all these guys who can do almost everything. No. You have all these players who are so versatile.
That's Curry. This is the guy I was telling you about. Thank you. If elite players are back in the day were in today's league, they'd still be the best athletes on the court.
I agree. They would be. They totally would be. If you plug the greats, I think they'll still be great. But my thing is, right now you have so many guys who are so versatile that can do everything on the floor that it makes being a scorer more valuable. You know what I mean? What LeBron does is so valuable because he can do everything and he's great at everything he does.
Okay, but I'm talking about just pure sharpshooters. I'm not talking about superstars.
Could the pure sharpshooters make it in the league? No, in the 90s.
Listen,
no, of course
Duncan
not. The league is for sure more shooting.
Other than shooting, what does Duncan Robinson do? and he's getting paid $90 million.
But that's important. That's important.
I'm not in
today's
aspect.
Which I think makes it more difficult.
No.
Yes.
No.
Because it's spacing.
Because
if you can't shoot, you can't play. That's how it is. Unless you're a center.
Okay.
Obviously,
if you can't shoot, you can't play. So that doesn't promote diversity in the league.
I think it does because you have guys. No, listen. Because look, if you can't shoot, you can't be like, yes, do shooters make it into the league? Yes. But also, if you're a big guy and you can't shoot, you don't make it in the league. So if you're an elite athlete and also you have a jump shot, that brings value. Because look, guys like Jahlil Okafor would have been good in the 90s. I'm sorry, they would have. Jahlil Okafor is not good now because he doesn't have a jump shot, which makes this. Look, I'm saying that there's things that make the 90s and the 80s harder, and there's things that make the 2000s and like the 2010s harder. It's both. I believe both were hard eras to play. I think they're both harder than the 60s.
But what you're saying is, if you can't do one certain thing, then if you can't do one certain thing, then you're not in the league. How does that promote diversity in the league?
You just told me why.
No.
Yes, you just told me why. Yes.
Because then everybody who can't shoot is not in the league.
That's not true. You can develop a jump shot once you get to it, but you need it for spacing, which makes it harder.
I'm saying no, Hobart.
If you can't do everything, you do not make the NBA. It's just how it is.
But look at the decline. No, that's not true at all. Look at the decline of Andre Drummond.
Would Shaq be good if he could play now? He could never shoot? I think so. I think Shaq would still be good now.
Well, dominance. In terms of paint dominance, yes.
No. Paint dominance? Okay,
because no one could defend Shaq now.
Sure. So will he put up the same numbers? Probably not, because there was a lot of triangle in the early 2000s too. We got to keep that in mind.
If you look at it, because if all you have to do is feed Shaq, then yes, he'd put up big numbers. Because if you put Grant Williams on Shaquille O'Neal,
that's a good point.
Okay, then
that's my thing with Shaq.
All game.
There will never be another Shaq. That's the thing. If there's a big guy who tries to make it into the league just by being dominant now, he's not gonna make it.
Yeah, and so how does that promote different types of players?
I think players are more versatile and they can do almost everything now. That to be really good, you need to be really good at everything. You know what I mean?
Okay,
you can't be a top player and just be really good at defense.
So what about guys like Andrei Kirilenko? Okay, you know who that is? What about guys like Kirilenko?
All right, I like the Duncan Robinson argument better.
What about
simply because with Duncan Robinson, you have Do
you know who Kirilenko is?
It sounds true for
Andrei Kirilenko. He was one of the greatest Swiss Army knives in the early 2000s to the mid 2000s era. Okay, that's what he was. Guys like Andrei Kirilenko, he can do it all, and he survived. He was tough. He could defend. He could score. He could shoot. Draymond Green. Guys like that are very, very valuable. His shooting is below average. Okay,
but the fact that he can make a three,
he can make an open shot. But what I'm telling you is, it's more easy than ever to be an NBA player now than it was.
Wildly disagree. That is so untrue. That is so untrue.
If all you can do is shoot, you will make money by just sitting in the corner and shooting.
Gino, come on, man. Gino, that's absurd.
It's not.
All right. I'll give my closing statement. You heard our top 10. As far as this little era debate goes in the end,
this is ridiculous.
I think that playing in the 90s was extremely hard and playing in the 80s was extremely hard because the game was more physical back then. For sure, the defense was harder.
You were forced to learn the game of basketball.
Well, see, that's where I disagree. However, in this era, right now, you have guys who can defend, shoot, score in different ways, hit a fadeaway, pull up from the logo. You have all these multi-dimensional guys. If Giannis gets a jump shot, he's insane.
It's over.
It's over. That's crazy. To me, that's great. And look, you have so many guys who can do so many different things right now. Like Kevin Durant, for example, greatest scorer ever, but he can also defend. He can do this. He can do that. Would he succeed in the 80s and 90s? Who knows? Who knows, right? The hard defense. KD's pretty skinny. He's a good defender.
He's a good defender. He's not a great
He had a point where he was a great defender, in my opinion.
Okay.
But look, I think there's aspects that make both eras tough. I think now in this era, it's harder to be great. It's harder to be like one of those guys because there's so many of people who are like, oh, that's that guy because he can do everything.
It's
right?
harder to be great when there's less defense being played.
I disagree.
Right.
Gino, come
You
on.
just said
Gino,
defense was
okay,
harder.
it was harder, but there's still non-existent.
So you're great when you beat great defenses, right?
Yeah.
So if the defense
But also
is harder back then how is it harder to be great
there's
now?
still defense now because everyone can do everything now.
Oh no!
You need to be a better scorer than the guy across from
Oh
you.
no!
And also, he defends and everything like that.
Not really.
That's my closing argument. That's my closing argument with that.
All right.
Final words, Gino.
Listen. Will Nicholson came on the airwave. We've been on for an hour, but I don't care. This has been a good argument.
Oh, it's been great.
Will Nicholson came on the airwaves and said the defense was harder back then.
It is.
Okay, but it's easier.
But defense isn't everything because now you have a lead score. I said my final piece. I said my piece.
It's easier to beat. I don't know. You know what? There's only one guy who can settle this, and you know who that is?
John Bro! Peace, ladies and gentlemen.